This is Mr. Gillum, and today we're going to look at the interim assessment on page 48 of your instruction book. Number 1 says that a pottery maker can make 24 vases in 8 days. If the pottery maker works 6 hours each day, how long does it take to make one vase? So I'm going to start this with a double number line, and we're going to solve it a couple different ways here. I'm going to go ahead and put the vases on the top and the days on the bottom. And I'm going to start with 24 vases in 8 days. And so I could figure out the unit rate, or how many vases that could be made in 1 day, by dividing by 8. I know that 3 vases can be made in 1 day. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't say, or none of our choices have the word days in them. But that's where this next part of information comes in handy. It says that each day they work for 6 hours. So really, I could think of it like this. I could compare vases to hours. It tells me in the problem that in 1 day there are 6 hours worked. So I know that in 3 vases could really be made in 6 hours. I know this because it tells us right here, 6 hours in 1 day. So instead of comparing vases to days, let's compare vases to hours. So now I have 3 vases in 6 hours. I need to know how many vases, I need to know how long it takes to make 1 vase. So if I divide by 3 there, I can divide by 3 here, and I would have 2 hours for 1 vase. Erase that for just a second. I'm going to show you one more way to do this problem. We could also think of it like this. There are 24 vases in 8 days. I know there's 6 hours in each day, so if I would prefer to change, I notice that all my answers are in hours, so I'm going to change the number of days here into hours right now. Now, I know that in a real day there are 24 hours. We use the word day. However, it's just really just talking about how many hours are worked each day, because he doesn't work while he's asleep or anything like that, of course. So 6 hours for each of those days. So if I multiply the days by 6, I know how many hours there are in 8 days. So really we have 24 vases for every 48 hours. So let's take a look at this now. I need to know how long it takes to make 1 vase. So I don't know how many hours that would take. So if I wanted to change a 24 into a 1, I could divide by 24. 48 divided by 24 is 2. So it would take 2 hours. You could also do it that way. Or you could make your double number line with vases to hours right away. And you could start with 24 to 48 if you had already made that conversion. And you could think about how long it would take to make 1 vase and divide by 24 like that. So you could do that either way. All right, so A would be the correct answer, 2 hours. The second problem says that a carpenter needs to make 60 dowels. Each dowel must be 6 inches long. The wood from which the carpenter will cut the dowels comes in 4-foot lengths. What is the least number of 4-foot lengths of wood the carpenter can buy and still make all 60 dowels? Okay, so it looks to me like each dowel must be 6 inches long. And so really what it's telling us is that the unit rate for 1 dowel. So if I think about this again with a double number line, I can say that, let's do the inches, let's do inches of wood. And the dowels that can be made. It's telling us right here, this information, 1 dowel must be 6 inches long. So 1 dowel is 6 inches of wood. We need to figure out for 60 dowels how many inches of wood that would be. So the first thing that I notice is that it's easy to multiply 1 by 60. I can multiply 6 by 60. That makes 360 inches of wood. Unfortunately though, the wood does not come in 1-inch pieces, so I can't just buy 361-inch pieces because first of all, I need 6 inches for each one, and second of all, they don't sell them in that length, 6-inch lengths or 1-inch lengths. They actually sell them in 4-foot lengths. So here's where things get a little tricky. I really need to change 360 inches into feet. So when I think about that, I think of, in my head, I think, okay, inches and feet. I know that there is 12 inches in 1 foot, and right now I have 360 inches. I need to know how many feet that is. So I know that if I divided, I think of 360 as 36, and if I wanted to change 36 into 12, I would divide by 3. But really I have 360, so I'm going to divide by 30. Or I can say 12, if I'm going this way, times 30 would be 360. So 1 times 30 would be 30. I would need 30 feet of wood. Now, another more complex part of this problem, it says they come in 4-foot lengths. So if I need 30 feet of wood, and at every foot I need to divide that by 4 because there are 4 feet in each length of, in each, what is it called? Yeah, 4. So I need 30 feet of wood, and they come in 4-foot lengths. So I need to figure out how many 4-foot lengths go into 30. Well, I could think of it like this and do long division and find the exact answer. And 7.5 would be how many I need. I don't see that. They're not going to sell you half of a length, a 4-foot length. They're not going to sell you a 2-foot length. They only sell them in 4-foot lengths. So I know 7 would not be enough. 8 would be a little too much, but I would need at least 8 of these 4-foot pieces to cover, to make 60 dowels. I'll have some left over, but I will need at least 8. So that would be C. Number 3 says, 1 batch of vegetable soup uses 2 cups of chopped onions, 1.5 cups of chopped celery, and 1 cup of chopped carrots. Select each ratio that will help the chef compare cups of chopped carrots to total cups of chopped vegetables. Circle all that apply. So this one might have multiple answers because it says circle all that apply. And the ratio that we're looking at is cups of carrots to total cups. So the cups of carrots need to come first, and total cups needs to come second. So when I look at this, I see we have 1 cup of chopped carrots. So that is definitely going to be my first number because order does matter. Now it says we need to figure out the total number of vegetables as well. So it looks to me like we have 2 cups of onions, 1.5 of celery, so 2 plus 1.5. And we also have to include the 1 because we need to, onions are still, carrots are still vegetables. All 3 of them are vegetables, so we have a part to whole. 2 plus 1.5 plus 1 makes 4.5. So we have 1 to 4.5 right now. So I don't see 1 to 4.5 on any of these ratios. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little chart here, and I'm going to figure out which ratios match or are equivalent to 1 to 4.5. 1 to 4.5 here. We'll put the carrots on the bottom and vegetables all together. So we have 1 to 4.5. If I doubled those values, I would have 2 to 9. Ooh, I see that value on here, so I definitely think that 2 to 9 is going to be one of my answers. If I doubled that again, I would have 4 to 18. Okay, I see that one on here as well. So I definitely want that one. And maybe I should have put carrots on the top and vegetables on the bottom because usually we make our comparison from top to bottom. But just make sure that your carrots number is coming first, your vegetables, your total vegetables number is coming second. The reason I don't like this one is because they mixed up the order. And I don't like 4 to 9 because I see that it's 4 to 18. It cannot also be 4 to 9. And I don't like 2 to 7 because I can see it's 2 to 9. So it cannot also be 2 to 7. So there are 2 correct answers in this case, both B and D. says a company sells crushed rock in 16-pound bags, each bag containing a mixture of quartz and marble. The table below lists the amounts of quartz and marble needed to fill a certain number of bags. If the ratio of quartz to marble is the same for every bag, fill in the empty cells to complete the table. So it looks to me like we need to find some patterns here. The pattern that I notice, and this is rarely is it going to be an addition or subtraction pattern. The pattern that I notice is that if I'm looking at the number of bags, it looks to me like if I multiply 3 by 9, that will be 27. And if I multiply 3 by 7, that will equal 21. Let's see if that relationship holds true for the next few. If I believe that that truly is the pattern, then that 3 times 7 will equal 21. 8 times 7 should equal 56, and that is true. 14 times 7 should equal 98, and that is true. So I'm going to go ahead and say that that is definitely the correct relationship that we're looking for. Let's check. It looks to me like we need to check for the quartz now. 3 times 9 is 27. 8 times 9 would be 72. Let's see. 72. I see that 3 times 9 was 27. So there's a multiplication by 9 from here to here. What number times 9 would equal 99? I know that that is 11. If you were moving from one to the other, you could also think about it as, oh, well, 99 divided by 9 would be 11 as well. Once I know that their number of bags is 11, if I multiply that by 7, I get 77. 14 times 9 would be 126. Again, with 135, I'm trying to find the number of bags. I could go backwards and divide by 9, or I could think, okay, well, what number multiplied by 9 equals 135? You might not know that number. If I do 135 divided by 9, I can figure out exactly what that number should be. I bet you it says 15. Yes. And then 15 times 7 would be 105. Okay, so that's just identifying a pattern. Almost always going to be multiplication or division for those. The next problem says that a bookstore is having a sale in which you can get 4 notebooks for $7 and 10 folders for $2.50. How much will it cost Rico to buy 5 notebooks and 6 folders? Okay, so on this problem, we're definitely going to have to find the unit price. And we spent a whole lesson talking about unit price. That's how much it costs for just 1 notebook or 1 folder. Right now we have the price for 4 notebooks. So 4 notebooks cost $7. I need to know the price per notebook. The price, I'm going to write that down. The price per notebook. So when I make my comparison, I'm going to go from left to right. I'm going to do price first, $7 to notebook 4. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say, okay, well, I need to know the unit price, so this 4 needs to be a 1. I'm going to divide both sides by 4. Hopefully we know that 7 divided by 4 is 7/4 to 1. And so I know that each, because this is a value, a price value, I wouldn't say I spent $7/4 on each notebook. I would say, okay, well, I spent $1 3/4 on each notebook. I know that 3/4 of a dollar is 75 cents, so $1.75 per 1 notebook. Okay, I could do the same thing for folders. I want to know the price per folder. So what I'm doing is 250 to 10. And when I divide by 10, I like dividing by 10 because I know that I just need to move the decimal place 1 spot. So in this case, I know that each folder is only 25 cents. And so if each folder is 25 cents and each notebook is $1.75, I can find the total sum by taking, for my folders, 25 cents times 6. That's $1.50. And I can take $1.75 times 5, so we need 5 of them, $8.75. So the total of 5 notebooks is $8.75. 6 folders is $1.50. Together, when I add those up, I have $10.25. And that's how much it should cost altogether. Oop. Sorry about that. $10.25. I'll continue this on a second part video.